Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the sometimes bewildering world of corporate finance and filings. So buckle up because we have something quite interesting today. We're diving into a recent filing from SurgePays, Incorporated, a company involved in the exciting world of technology and finance. If you are new here and love getting straight to the point insight, tuts from these dense corporate documents, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out. And hey, we also have a fantastic Discord community linked down in the description where we break down these filings even further and discuss them with fellow enthusiasts. Alright, let's get straight to it. This isn't exactly a quarterly earnings report, but more of an update on a significant business deal that has just been inked for SurgePays Incorporated. The filing date is the 22nd of January of 2026, and the earliest event reported is the 20th of January 2026. Our main player here is SurgePays Incorporated. This is the company we'll be dissecting today, Tabletrader Nevada. EDDDR001 negative 40,992, 40DD98 negative 550,352 FID2 Dadi state, or other jurisdiction of incorporation EDDTD commission file number. TDA's employer identification number tri-table. Just a quick note on their background: they are incorporated in Nevada and their corporate file number is 001-40992. This report is filed with the US Securities and Exchange Commission, commonly known as the CC. They are the folks who oversee public companies and ensure they're playing by the rules. And the document itself is a Form 8. This type of filing is used to report any material event that shareholders should know about promptly. So this is a current report detailing an important and immediate development for the company. The report is dated the 22nd of January of 2026, but the key event happened a couple of days earlier on the 20th of January 2026. Now let's talk about what SurgePays Incorporated does. Specifically, this filing relates to their common stock Tabletrader title of each class EDTD trading symbol CDTDN of each exchange on which registered DT common stock ETDDD, the NASDAQ. Stock Market LLC TD Tri-Table. Their common stock is traded on the NASDAQ stock market under the ticker symbol SURG. This is how you'd find them if you wanted to invest. The heart of this report lies in item 1.01, which tells us about a significant agreement that has been entered into on the 20th of January 2026. SurgePays Inc., or the company as they call themselves here, signed an underwriting agreement. This agreement is with RF Lafferty Fendi, AM Pemp Company Incorporated, who is acting as the sole underwriter, a key player in helping companies sell their stock to the public. This agreement is all about an underwritten offering of 2 million shares of SurgePays Incorporated's common stock. The par value is almost nothing at $0.001 per S-hair, which is typical. The price for these shares to the public is set at $1.25 per S-hair. This means the company is expecting to raise about $2.5 million in total before any fees or expenses are taken out. Here is an interesting part. The underwriter RF Lafferty IMP Company Incorporated has an option to buy up to an additional 300,000 shares for the next 45 days. This is often done to cover any extra demand for the shares that might pop up during the offering. Beyond just selling shares, the company is also issuing warrants to the underwriter. These are essentially options to buy more stock in the future. The number of these warrants will be equal to 3.0% of the total shares sold in this offering. These warrants aren't freebies. They will have an exercise price set at 110% of the original $1.25 per S-hair offering price. So if the stock price goes up significantly, the underwriter can exercise these warrants for a profit. These warrants can be exercised starting 6 months after the deal closes, and they are valid for 5 years from when sales begin. This gives the underwriter a good chunk of time to potentially benefit if the stock performs well. Now this part is a bit technical but important. The warrants themselves and the shares that could be issued from them are being sold without being formally registered with the SEC. This is being done by using specific exemptions. In the law, these exemptions are generally for private offerings to sophisticated investors or accredited investors, meaning they are assumed to be knowledgeable enough to understand the risks without full public registration. The whole deal is expected to officially close on the 22nd of January 2026. That is when the company will officially hand over the shares and the warrants to the underwriter, assuming everything goes as planned. So what will SurgePays Incorporated do with this money? They plan to use the money to expand their Lifeline business, which sounds interesting, and also for general day-to-day operations and other corporate needs. Like most agreements of this nature, the underwriting agreement includes standard promises and guarantees from SurgePays Incorporated about the company's condition and the shares being offered. This part means both SurgePays and the underwriter are agreeing to cover certain potential losses or damages that might come up related to this offering. This is a way to share the risk. A common feature in these deals is the lock Up agreement. This means that SurgePays Incorporated's top brass, their directors and executive officers, have agreed not to sell any of their company stock for 180 days after the underwriting agreement is signed. Unless the underwriter gives them permission, this is to prevent insiders from immediately selling shares and potentially tanking the stock price right after the public offering. On top of that, SurgePays Incorporated itself has agreed not to issue any new shares or securities that can be converted into shares for 180 days after the deal closes, unless the underwriter approves. This helps maintain stability in the stock supply. Something else notable is that SurgePays Incorporated has given the underwriter a right of first refusal. This means for 3 months after this deal closes, RF Lafferty Findiam. Company Incorporated gets the first shot to be the underwriter or agent for any future stock or debt offerings the company might do, excluding commercial bank debt. This gives the underwriter a good chance to build a long-term relationship. The report also mentions that this offering is being made under a registration statement that was previously filed and declared effective by the CC. This means the basic groundwork for selling stock has been in place for a while, with a prospectus supplement being filed very recently. The filing also points to some exhibits. These are the actual documents like the underwriting agreement, Exhibit 1.1, and the form of the representative warrants, Exhibit 4.1. These are considered part of this report. There is also a legal opinion from Elanoff Grossman Suvin, Amscol LLP, included as Exhibit 5.1. This is important as it confirms the legality of the share and warrant issuance. And a standard disclaimer that this report itself isn't an offer to sell shares. It is just reporting on an event. Now let's move on to item 3.02, which deals with unregistered sales of equity securities. This section simply refers back to the information we just discussed about the warrants and the shares that can be issued from them, reiterating that these were sold under specific exemptions from public registration. Next up is item 8.01, which covers other events. This section mentions that on the 20th of January 2026, the company filed a prospectus supplement. This supplement updates information in an earlier prospectus from the 3rd of November 2023, which was part of a registration statement on Form S-3. This earlier prospectus was related to an at-the-market or ATM offering agreement with a company called Titan Partners Group, LLC, acting as an agent. This means SurgePays Incorporated has been selling shares on the open market from time to time over a period. The recent prospectus supplement has updated the amount of stock SurgePays Incorporated can sell under that ATM agreement. It seems they are now eligible to sell stock with an offering price of up to $1 through Titan. And importantly, this update does not count the shares that have already been sold through this ATM agreement, which amounted to over $1.7 million in sales through the 20th of January 2026. This shows the company has been actively selling shares over a period to fund its operations. As is standard in these filings, we have a section on forward-looking statements. These are statements about the company's future expectations that are not guaranteed to happen. They are subject to risks and uncertainties, and they always come with a warning that actual results could be very different from what is predicted. Factors beyond the company's control can significantly impact outcomes. They acknowledge that while they believe their future projections are reasonable, there are always risks and uncertainties that could lead to actual results being quite different. These statements are subject to further risks detailed in their other filings with the SEC, such as their annual report and the prospectus for this current offering. Finally, we come to item 9.01, which lists the financial statements and exhibits filed with the report Tabletrat Exhibit 1.17 Underwriting Agreement, dated as of the 20th of January 2026 between SurgePays Inc. and RF Lafferty Fundiam P Company Inc. Trotwort Exhibit 4.1 Swanditi Vom of Representative Warrant Twantuan. Exhibit 5.1 Swanditi Opinion of Elanoff Grossman Swandianth. Skoll LLP P Tartek Exhibit 23.1 Swanditi Consent of Elanoff Grossman Foddy Amp. Skoll LLP contained in Exhibit 5.1. Treaty Exhibit 104 TDDC Cover Page Interactive Data File. Treaty Tantry Table. This section just lists the supporting documents like the underwriting agreement, the form of the warrant, and the legal opinion we touched on earlier. Now let's break this down a bit. SurgePays Incorporated is essentially raising capital through both a direct offering and by authorizing the sale of more stock through an existing agreement. The $2.5 million from the new offering is significant for a company of this size, and the fact that they're using it to expand their lifeline business suggests a focus on growth in that particular area. The inclusion of warrants for the underwriter is a standard practice, but it does dilute potential future earnings if exercised. The lockup agreements for insiders are good for short-term stock price stability and show alignment with public investors. The company has also been actively selling shares through its ATM program to fund operations, which is a common strategy for smaller growing companies. But it does mean existing shareholders are seeing their ownership diluted over time. The key takeaway here is that SurgePays Incorporated is actively seeking funding to grow their business. The $1.25 per share offering price isn't particularly high, but for companies at this stage, it is about securing the capital to execute their plans. The fact that they are using Form S-3 registration indicates they are already a reporting company and have access to established capital markets. Looking at this from a Warren Buffett perspective, we want to see a company with a strong economic moat and a clear competitive advantage. SurgePays Incorporated's lifeline business seems to be their growth engine. We would need to see more information about the competitive landscape and the sustainability of this business to make a solid judgment. The immediate risks include the success of this new offering and the effective deployment of the funds for expansion. The dilution from the warrants and the ongoing ATM sales are also factors to consider for any potential investor looking at long-term value. Overall, this filing shows a company in a growth phase actively raising capital to fuel that growth. The success of this strategy hinges on the execution of their lifeline business expansion and their ability to generate sustainable profits from it. Alright, that is our breakdown of SurgePays Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.